Hello students, this is the last part of the type study cockroach, and in this video we are going to study the nervous system of cockroach. Cockroach is a very active and nocturnal animal. The nervous system of cockroach helps it to communicate with the outer environment through the sense organs with the help of its sense organs like antenna, compound eye, and sensory parts on the body. So it is capable of identifying its food, identifying its mate, identifying its enemy, etc. Now, the nervous system of cockroach is mainly divided into two parts. One is central nervous system. In short, we can call it as CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, you can call it as PNS. So the central nervous system of cockroach is represented by ganglia, the cerebral ganglia, and then the segmental ganglia. Ganglia represents the aggregation of cells, or you can compare the word ganglia with brain of higher animals. So what we call as brain in higher animals is called ganglia in these lower animals like arthropods, insects, etc. So the ganglia or the small brain which is found in the head region is called cerebral ganglia, and the other ganglia which are found in the different segments are called segmental ganglia. And then there is a nerve cord which runs along the length of the body and it connects all the ganglia. So it helps in the transmission of messages through all the ganglia up to the cerebral ganglia, and then it connects with the tissues of the body. The peripheral nervous system is represented by nerves, the nerves which originate from the ganglia. These thin thread-like structures of the nervous system, they enter into the tissues. Literally, they communicate with each and every cell of the body, each and every part of the body. So, all parts of the body, every part of the body, every cell of the body is in communication with the nervous system through these nerves. So the messages from the sense organs from different parts of the body travel through the nerves, reach the ganglia, and the message which the brain wants to send to different parts of the body moves from ganglia to the tissues or cells through these nerves. So that is how the organization of nervous system is found in cockroach. The central nervous system representing cerebral ganglia, segmental ganglia, and the nerve cord, and the peripheral nervous system, because the nerves spread in different parts of the body, we call it as peripheral nervous system, represented by nerves of ganglia. Here in this picture, you can see the nervous system which is almost ladder-like. And remember, the nervous system is present on the ventral side of the body. You know that in case of invertebrates, the organ systems are normally found on the ventral side. The nervous system is the one which is found on the ventral side of the body, floor of the ventral side. The nervous system starts with ganglia. So here you can see in the head region the cerebral ganglia. The cerebral ganglia is again divided into two parts, supraesophageal ganglia and subesophageal ganglia. So the part of the ganglia which is present above the esophagus is called supraesophageal ganglion, and the part which is found below the esophagus is called subesophageal ganglion. Now these two parts of the ganglia are interconnected by means of a thread-like nervous system tissue, and we call it a circumesophageal commissure. We call it as circumesophageal commissure because it covers uh, the esophagus, right? So the upper, supra, and below sub is interconnected by the circumesophageal commissures. And then we find the ganglia in the segments. So this part of the body is thorax. And we already know that in the cockroach, like any other insect, we find three segments, three thoracic segments. In each segment, one ganglia is present. So we call these three as thoracic ganglia. So this is prothoracic ganglion, this is mesothoracic, and this one is metathoracic ganglion. Compared to the abdominal ganglia, the thoracic ganglia are larger. Cerebral ganglia is the largest. Then in size, we find the thoracic ganglia and then the abdominal glands, which are comparatively smaller. So the abdominal ganglia, one ganglia is normally found in each segment. Totally, there are 6 abdominal ganglia. So the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and the sixth one, which is the last and comparatively larger ganglia. In this diagram, you can see a pair of thread-like structure running along the length and interconnecting the ganglion. So this is called nerve cord, right? So the central nervous system is represented by the cerebral ganglia, thoracic ganglia, abdominal ganglia, and the nerve cord which connects all these ganglia. So this forms the central nervous system of the cockroach. Now, ganglia. What is ganglia? I already mentioned. Ganglia can be defined as aggregation of nerve cells. So when large number of nerve cells group together to form a mass of cells, nerve cells, that structure can be called ganglia. You can compare the ganglia with the brain of higher animals. In the higher animals, we use the term brain. So ganglia is nothing but brain of the cockroach or brain of the lower organisms like insects. The only difference is in higher animals like vertebrates, we find brain only in the head region. Whereas in the insects like cockroach, we find ganglia distributed throughout the body. So you can see the ganglia in the head, you find ganglia in the thoracic region and abdomen region also. So that is why ganglia are slightly different from the brain of higher animals. We already studied the different ganglia like supraesophageal ganglia, subesophageal ganglia, and the circumesophageal connective. Now just imagine the head of the cockroach is literally perpendicular to the body of the cockroach. Mouth is situated in the tip region. The esophagus uh, is surrounded by the circumesophageal connective on the sides and above. I think in this picture it makes you the sense. So if this is the esophagus running, a part of the esophagus is shown here, and above this esophagus you can see this is the supraesophageal ganglia, and below this forms the subesophageal ganglia. So these two ganglia are interconnected by the circumesophageal commissures, and then this nervous system continues on the ventral side. So this is the nerve cord, and here starts the ganglia, I mean the segmental ganglia like thoracic ganglia, etc. So it starts in the head region and then it continues in the ventral part of the body. So how many ganglia are there? We already studied. In the thoracic region, we find 3 ganglia. Here they are represented. And then in the abdominal segments, we find 6 ganglia. And then the ventral nerve cord. The nerve cord, because it is present in the ventral side, we call it as ventral nerve cord, which connects all the ganglia. And the nerves, as we already discussed, they are the fine branches connecting each and every part of the body. Now that's about the nervous system of cockroach, and with this we conclude the study of cockroach, the type study of cockroach. Thank you.